Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're stepping into a story that really challenges you. It makes you think hard about justice, forgiveness, and, well, human resilience.
We're talking about Corby Ledbetter. His life takes this turn you just can't imagine.
Yeah, it forces him to face himself and also the systems around him. It's quite a journey.
And this deep dive, we're going to follow that journey from, seemingly ordinary family guy to inmate. We'll look at the personal struggles, sure, but also the bigger systemic issues he runs into.
And our main source here, it's Corby's own account. So it's incredibly intimate. You get right inside his head. We also have perspectives from people close to him.
And the goal really is to understand the capacity humans have for, well, both messing up badly and also for finding some kind of meaning or self-discovery in the worst places.
And how society's structures, like the prison system, really shape people's lives. So let's get into it.
Okay, so before the tragedy, Corby's world.
Right. He was a commercial artist, but his real art, his serious stuff.
That got sidelined. Ended up in the basement once the twins arrived.
Maisie and Nico. He talks about Maisie being the alpha twin, very serious, driven.
And Nico was the mischievous one, the laughing boy.
Yeah.
Corbin absolutely adored them. He felt like, making art was nothing compared to creating these kids.
But like you said before, underneath that surface.
Yeah, there was anxiety building, a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he started coping in, well, not great ways.
Self-medicating.
Exactly. He called it benzo and booze, which turned out to be rum and Ativan. More and more, just to hold the panic back, just to get through the day.
And he was unemployed, right, holding on to this hope of getting his old job back.
Kind of magical thinking, yeah. Unemployment's running out. They need to refinance the house. They're in marriage counseling.
And he wasn't being honest with Emily, his wife, about looking for work. He was terrified of ending up at, Hobby Lobby.
Yeah. And that strain, it definitely showed up in the marriage. Intimacy was suffering.
He mentions this one time trying to have makeup sex, and he just gave up, felt like he couldn't do anything right.
Which becomes a recurring theme, sadly. But he still loved Emily deeply, felt like he definitely got the better deal.
And Emily, she sounds like a really strong person herself.
Oh, yeah. Driven teacher, educational studies major at UCLA. Apparently wanted to be a nun at one point. Stayed in California for the free tuition, even though her own parents' marriage had failed.
So different backgrounds, too. Corby's mom, quite the character.
Totally. Red hair, gardener, grew weed, into tarot, Wiccan, bisexual, waitress. A real free spirit.
Compared to Emily's mom, Betsy.
Right. Betsy was critical. Always iffy about Corby. Found his nude sketches of Emily once, called him a grasshopper, not the ant. Irresponsible.
Adds another layer of pressure, doesn't it? And their early relationship had bumps, too. Long distance.
Corby got insecure when Emily talked about taking a break. He had his own issues at RASD, too. Disciplinary stuff, academics. Like spray painting that lovely message about Santa's sleigh.
Right. So they moved to California, trying for a fresh start. Emily gets a teaching job.
And Corby starts selling these charcoal sketches of rock stars. $50 each. Saves up for an engagement ring. Things are looking up, maybe.
But then another setback. Emily's health.
Yeah, deep vein thrombosis.
Yeah.
Which led to her needing a diaphragm for birth control.
Which have a failure rate, even if small.
Between 4 and 18%, yeah.
Yeah.
And they end up with an unplanned pregnancy.
Followed by a miscarriage. Just heartbreaking.
Devastating. That tiny lima bean of our non-baby, as he put it, in Emily's grief. It sounds like it just went underground. Silent. She kept the ultrasound picture hidden away. So
when you add all this up, the job loss, the anxiety, the self-medication, the marriage strain, the hidden grief.
It's a recipe for disaster, isn't it? All these vulnerabilities, these unaddressed pains, just waiting for a spark, creating the conditions for something truly awful.
And then the spark ignites. The morning it happened.
Yeah, the morning Nico died. Corbin's still under the influence from the night before, maybe the morning too.
Puts the car in reverse. Doesn't check the backseat properly.
And backs over his son. Just unimaginable horror. Chaos ensues. Emily wasn't right there at that exact moment.
Their neighbor, Arlene, had to shield Maisie, the other twin, from seeing it.
Just awful. Then the police arrive. Sergeant Fazio, Longo, Detective Sykes.
And they suspect he's intoxicated pretty much immediately.
Right. He lies at first. Says he only had coffee.
But eventually admits it after his mom posts bail.
Yeah, admits to the rum and Ativan. And then his lawyer gets involved, suggests this strategy about maybe taking something after the accident to try and muddy the waters of the blood tests.
Wow. But the guilt, that must have been instant. Crushing.
Absolutely overwhelming. That feeling again, Can't do anything right, can't find work, can't stay sober, can't satisfy his wife, and now
Yeah.
this.
The community judges, too. His neighbor, a retired cop, just avoids him.
Yeah, the weight of it all. Eventually, he pleads guilty.
The second-degree involuntary manslaughter.
And the sentence is 5 years, but suspended after 3. So 3 years he has to serve in prison.
And that sentencing. That's the pivot point, isn't it? The start of a whole new nightmare. His journey into the prison system.
Exactly. And his entry, his first taste of incarceration, is brutal.
Tell us about that.
Chained up with other prisoners in this boiling hot van. Someone's vomited. The COs, the correctional officers, they're just indifferent during orientation. Showing this ancient video on a VCR. Bad audio.
Just processing him, giving him a survival kit, a laminated ID. He's not Corbin anymore. He's just Ledbetter.
Dehumanizing, like you said.
Yeah.
And Lieutenant Cavaniero lays out the rules. Stay neutral in the racial politics of prison.
And expect trouble.
Yeah, expect hazing, because he's a baby killer. That's a label that makes you a target, apparently because other inmates, many having kids themselves, see it as a way to feel superior or something.
God, that's grim. Being targeted for the source of your own deepest pain.
It's horrific. And his cell life reflects the harsh realities, too. First cellmate, Pug.
Albert Liggett, a.k.a. Pug. What was he like?
Racist, violent. Ran a chop shop. Apparently dislocated his last cellmate's shoulder. But he was careful around black inmates.
Oh.
Because he'd had his ear torn off in a fight before. Learned a lesson, I guess.
So not exactly a welcoming committee.
No. But then later, his cellmate is Manny Della Vecchia. Different story. Manny's this Russian Jewish Sicilian hustler for drug dealing, got caught in a rave sting. But he's got this compassionate side, gives Corbin insight into how prison works, even smuggles him extra food sometimes.
So some humanity exists even there, but you mentioned racial dynamics. The prison itself enforces that.
Oh, absolutely. Yates Correctional Institution. The segregation is intentional and stark. Cell assignments are based on skin color, melanin, as Corby learns. It doesn't matter if you're Dominican or African-American, you're just lumped together based on race. It's designed to keep people divided.
Wow. But amidst all that, he does find some connection.
Surprisingly, yes. He meets Dale Tebbins. Dale has a similar tragic past, driving drunk, hurting a child. They form this unique bond, this specific kind of empathy.
Shared trauma.
Exactly. And then there's Lester Wiggins. For 50 years. An accident involving a judge's daughter. Lester becomes this kind of symbol of dignity, still engaging his mind, reading, thinking, despite decades inside.
But internally, Corby's fighting his own battles.
Constantly. He swings between feeling superior to the other inmates and feeling just like them, complicit. Nighttime is the worst, when the memories, the fire, burn the brightest. He struggles with suicidal thoughts.
Does he try to deal with the addiction?
He goes to A&A meetings, friend of Bill's, learns from others, like a priest, Father Andy, who got multiple DUIs after going through rehab. It shows how hard sobriety is. Corby tries, but he's not fully open. Not yet.
Find some small comfort, though. You mentioned a stone.
Yeah, this milky quartz river stone he finds near the Wequanic River that flows past the prison. He holds onto it. It becomes this little symbol of hope, of trying to move forward.
It's amazing how people find those anchors.
You have to, right. Prison just forces this intense confrontation with yourself, with your demons. People find ways to cope, seek solace wherever they can.
But the system itself, it's not designed for healing, is it? Especially with some of the staff.
Far from it. The abuse of power is pervasive. These two COs, Picardi and Anselmo, they target Corby, destroying his artwork, psychological games like leaving a snake in his cell, just harassment. And worse, they seem genuinely sadistic, like pepper spraying wild turkeys just for kicks.
That's disturbing, and it gets even worse, doesn't it?
Tragically, yes. There's a horrific incident where Anselmo sexually assaults Corby with an expandable baton while Picardi just watches.
My God. Does he report it? There's PREA, the Prison Rape Elimination Act.
He doesn't. He's filled with shame, fear, and deep cynicism. He just doesn't believe reporting it through PREA channels will do anything, might even make it worse.
Which speaks volumes about his view of the system's failures.
Exactly. And it highlights broader issues, Corby observes. Overcrowding is rampant. They're turning gyms into dorms with these flimsy plastic sleigh beds. Construction of new parts of the prison is shoddy.
And the legacy of things like the war on drugs.
He sees it firsthand. The disproportionate number of young black men incarcerated. He starts reading history, like Native American genocide, and sees parallels, how the victors, the man, rewrite history to cover up atrocities. He sees the same power dynamics playing out inside the prison walls.
It really makes you ask, how do these systems meant for justice end up causing so much more harm and injustice, especially to people already vulnerable?
It's a crucial question. But even in that environment, Corby finds an outlet. His art.
Right, the mural project.
Yeah, thanks to Mrs. Millman, the prison librarian. She seems supportive, maybe a bit defiant of the system herself. She invites Corby, the artist, to paint a mural in the library.
And he does it. What's it like?
He gets inspired by Bruegel's painting, Landscape with the Fall of Icarus. His mural shows men floating down that river, the Wequanic, which becomes a symbol of liberation for him. It also includes figures of Maisie and Emily on a path, and native people just living their lives before colonization.
Does it get noticed?
Oh, yeah. An art agent even expresses interest. Mrs. Millman praises it publicly. It's this moment of real validation for his art, his identity beyond prisoner.
Now, that must be complicated, feeling validated while still dealing with the guilt, the harassment.
Incredibly complicated. The praise happens alongside the continued torment from guys like Picardy. And his own internal struggles never really go away.
It's really something, though, how art can just emerge in places like that.
It really is. It becomes this lifeline, doesn't it? A way to heal, to resist subtly, maybe even to leave something meaningful behind, a legacy.
But just when there's this glimmer, another blow falls. His release gets revoked.
Agonizingly close. He was up for early release, but he tests positive for Klonopin.
Which he was taking for?
Anxiety. Prescribed, apparently, but the drug has a long half-life, stays in your system, so the test is positive, release denied.
How does he react?
He snaps. Completely loses it. Lashes out, breaks a female CO's nose.
Oh, no. So that means?
Extended sentence. Possible new charges. The light at the end of the tunnel just got extinguished.
And how is his family connection during all this? Emily and Maisie.
It's strained. Emily's visits are tough for her. The whole prison environment makes her nauseous, intimidated. Maisie. At first, she's shy, asks Corby, "Do you know who I am?"
Heartbreaking. Does that get better?
It does. Later visits, she gets more comfortable. They read books together, Pinkalicious, Curious George. Emily's psychologist actually encouraged the visits, saying it would help Maisie prepare for when Corby eventually got out, trying to maintain that bond.
But Corby never does get out, does he?
No. Tragically, his story ends inside Yates. He contracts COVID-19.
During the pandemic.
Yeah. His health declines. He's in pain, crying out at night, but seemingly unable to really communicate how bad it is. And he dies there from complications.
Just terrible after everything. But the story has one more twist involving Manny.
It does. Manny, his former cellmate, the hustler with a heart, he gets released. And he feels this sense of loyalty, this need for the truth to be known.
So he finds Emily.
He seeks her out, tells her everything Corby went through. The depth of his guilt over Nico, the details about the Klonopin test, why it happened, and the darkest parts. The harassment from Picardy and Anselmo and the sexual assault.
Wow. He tells her about the assault.
He does. He lays it all bare, the whole truth of Corby's experience.
How does Emily take this? This must change everything for her.
It's profound. It shifts her understanding completely. She starts to see Corby's addiction, his actions, not just his bad choices, but it's tangled up with his depression, his job loss, and crucially, the horrific abuse he endured inside. It reframes her whole perception of him and his struggles.
And the mural, does she ever see it?
Yes. Later on, she's engaged again to a man named Brian and pregnant. She finally goes to the prison library to see the mural Corby painted.
What's that like for her?
Deeply emotional. She sees Corby's figure in it, looking down at the men floating in the river. She recognizes Manny. She sees herself and Maisie on the path. It becomes a space for her to finally process everything, the grief, the regret, maybe find some kind of peace, some reconciliation with his memory.
And the stone. Corby's lucky river stone.
Manny gives it to Emily, and later, Emily and Maisie, who's older now, understanding more, they go to the Wequanic River.
And they return it.
They let it go. Back into the river. Back home, as they say. A symbolic act of acceptance, of release, letting go.
Is there any word on others from the story? Like Solomon?
Yeah, there's an update. Solomon, the young inmate Corbin tried to look out for. He's living on a reservation now. He's on medication, managing his issues, and he has a job at a casino. So a hopeful path forward for him, despite everything.
It's really striking, isn't it, how knowing the full story, the whole truth, even years down the line, can be so essential for healing. Forgiving, maybe, or at least understanding for everyone involved.
Absolutely. We've traced this incredibly turbulent life. Corby Ledbetter's fall, his journey through a prison system that was brutal and flawed, and how he still managed to find little bits of meaning in unexpected places.
Through art, through friendships that you wouldn't expect, and eventually through the truth coming out.
Yeah, and this whole deep dive, it really puts a spotlight on how personal choices and huge systemic problems are completely intertwined. Addiction, mental health, they're complex, not simple. And grief and forgiveness, they don't follow straight lines.
It really hammers home how much empathy matters, doesn't it? Especially when we're looking at difficult truths about people and about the systems we create.
Definitely. And think about this. Corbin seemed to find his own kind of liberation, not by getting out of prison, but through his art, and then posthumously when Manny told his truth.
So the final thought for you, listening. If understanding the whole painful story of someone like Corbin, including his mistakes and his suffering, helps us understand human nature better, what does that say about our collective responsibility? And what does liberation really mean when you're facing that kind of deep personal and societal pain? Something to think about.